And that's what we call a non-manufactured jump scare. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Candela, Obscura, Session 3, Circle of 5. It's been a wild ride. Does anyone want to attempt to recap the first two sessions? We had an off-camera recap since it's been approximately 1 decade since we... It's been a decade! Does anyone want to attempt to say what we've been up to so far in very general terms?
I'll go for it.
Go for it, Ox.
We were on a boat.
Yeah.
There was another boat that caught on fire. Am I starting too early or am I starting
perfect.
right place?
That's perfect.
There was another boat that we saw that caught on fire, flew up in the air, flew to the beach.
Yeah.
We helped inspect it.
Yeah.
We made our way into the city.
Yeah.
A pirate lost his hand.
Really good.
I took his hand, and it seemed valuable, but I hid it.
Mm-hmm.
We made our way to, what's it called,
The eaves.
The eaves.
Mm-hmm.
Made my way to the eaves to see my grandfather, because I remember that he had some knives, and the one in the pirate's hand looked similar. The roof flew off from a ghost. We went down into Old City. What was it called?
South Soffit. Old Fair.
Fair.
South through South Soffit into Old Fair.
Old Fair. We saw some clock mechanic. What are those things called? Automatons. And they killed 2 of our guides.
Whoops.
And we found some gear while following a ghost. I put a glove on and controlled it, and then we left.
Yes.
And then
that's session 1. Session 2.
That was session 1. Session 2. I don't know. What the heck did we do?
In session 2, we discovered that one of the other circles had mysteriously disappeared. One of the members turned up dead in their old chapter house. At the chapter house, there was a confrontation with New Fair's vigilante, the Shadow, which was quickly resolved after an assassin from Pyre showed up. Pyre is the secretive cultish wing of the Ascendancy, the local religion of New Fair. And the Flint member killed the Shadow. Rest in peace, gone but not forgotten. And then the Circle killed Flint member. And Florence looted the bodies, Skyrim rules, classic, and picked up the journal diary notes of the Shadow, the vigilante. And you'll notice at the front it says, "If lost, please return to the Shadow." And then it just says rooftop, blah, 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 blah. Some directions of where to live.
Periphery, HQ, roof, 9 irons.
Yeah. So she's got the journal. And then some more clues led y'all to Grey Slate Sanatorium, where you found out that they were sacrificing people to a weird beast. The head of the hospital was in on it, and she let you know. Y'all went and helped the patients and killed the beast. Picked up a cool gold sword along the way. The doctor was taken away by, we can assume, the mysterious, potentially devious Elias Smoke, who's just been up to no good, it seems, this whole darn time.
Classic him.
It seems like he was thrilled about y'all putting the daggers back. It seems like he was excited that people are coming back from the dead. What's this guy's deal? Okay, let's find out. Maybe, or not, in session 3 of
Probably not.
Candela Obscura.
Imagine like 23 million our music.
That's yeah. Now spin the table. Anyways, real quick, before we dive into our new chapter, how do people think that they're going to give some quick kind of overview? For most of the people involved in Grey Slate, no one knows what happened in the basement between the efforts of Candela and the OUP, the Office of Unusual Phenomenon. This was kind of glazed over. No one even knew that anything happened. It was kind of erased from anyone's knowledge. Not like Men in Black erased, but just like they kind of swept it under the rug. There is Dr. Kane, I believe is her name. The head of the hospital, she's taken ill and has been replaced, is the story. So there is just a new doctor in Grey Slate. The patients that were at Grey Slate were moved over to, and this would include Ox's mom, this would include Thaddeus, this would include Travis. Travis. They have all been shifted to the main hospital, Grand Halen Hospital, which is the kind of main central hospital in New Fair. It's in Silver Slip, which is one of the nicer areas. There's a lot of government buildings and kind of nicer. The primacy is the New Fair government, so that's based in Silver Slip as well as the hospital. This is where people who have resources get to go to get better. Gray Slate is where people who don't have resources are dumped to stagnate. And Grand Halen Hospital has some better resourcing, and the OUP and Candela have determined was not in the vice grip of Pyre. So patients have been moved to Grand Halen Hospital. That's where Thaddeus is. Thaddeus, what does your recovery look like?
Okay. Thaddeus is in this Van Halen hospital,
Uh-huh.
and as there's like, I imagine like a couple of days where he's not quite coherent yet, yeah, just kind of being patched up and recovered by, I assume, McCoy. And so I think we could zoom in on a conversation
Sure.
on like the day that he seems most present, out of it, less wincing and just general rest, and more so like he gets to actually get a voice behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he would just kind of scratch out as he's got burns like all over the right side of his face and his body from the incident. Just kind of asks McCoy what happened in the basement at the sanatorium.
McCoy goes and is like kind of clinking some jars around to the side of the bed with her back towards you, and then she turns around and says, you were a danged fool, that's what. And then stomps over to your bed and is in the process of changing one of the bandages. And again, contrary to the sharpness of her voice, her hands are very gentle as she's applying the bandages.
Yeah, which I imagine still hurts a bit, and he winces, but not from you on purpose. And then after just a long pause, it's not like a fluid conversation, but then he eventually just asks, anyone get hurt?
Florence pauses for a second because she's had a little bit of a change of heart through the process of this last assignment and has come to see you in a new light. And she now recognizes that you are going to be very hurt by the fact that someone was sacrificed to the monster. Did you see that, actually? I don't remember if you saw that or not.
I don't think so.
He was out.
He was out,
initiated
okay.
The whole sequence with dying.
She says, other than you? Well, we did lose one patient, but it was far less than it could have been. You did well.
What happened to them? Who was it?
It was Sarah Glass House. Sarah Glass. It was Miss Sarah Glass.
Looks around the room.
Glass. It was Sarah Hospital Bed. Yes, Mrs. Hospital Bed. Okay.
Now, just curious, just real quick. There isn't necessarily any reason you would have needed to know who that patient was, but you volunteer at the do you think that it's literally you're just making something up, or it's like this is someone I had actually cared for?
I think, would we have been part of the, when you say the cover up, like would we have been at all part of like
I think y'all could have helped just like as a part of the Candela side of things, like help the patients get out, explain everything to Declan, your light keeper, when he came to kind of figure out what's been going on. However much or little you want to like, it could have been like, we'll take it from here, peace out everyone, or it could have been, depending on how you think you would have approached it, like, no, I'm going to stay here, I'm going to see it through to the very end, like.
I'm going to say I would have run over to the side of the pit and just to check if she was still there, and was there no sign of her corpse? Okay. Then I would say I would have recognized her from volunteering. I would say...
Sarah Glass.
Yeah, her name was Sarah Glass. I'll say, if it's any consolation, I don't think she suffered.
Okay. Again, long time before he responds again. But then this time it takes a big shift, and he just asks, why do you spend so much time here?
she is also quiet for a minute or two as she's like finishing the bandages. She has applied the salve and is like tying them off, and then she kind of puts her hands on the railing of the bed and she says for a second, I may be a total B word, but I do have a heart, and I respect people who have hearts, and I can tell that you have one. Whatever our disagreements in the past, I respect what you did back there. That's all she says.
His eyes just kind of go up towards the ceiling, and then he's not really responsive and doesn't say anything else until you're like wrapping everything up and getting ready to leave. You're like headed towards the door, getting ready to leave the room, and then you just hear, have you ever regretted helping someone?
Mysterious.
She declares into the hallway.
Mysterious. She pauses, and her hand's on the doorway, and then she says, not even once, and then she leaves.
Okay.
I love it. Ox and Wade, you would have each had a connection to a patient who was in potentially sacrificed and then removed. Do y'all want a moment with them, or do you want to just describe what that process looked like in between now and the present? Or
for me, with the state that my mother's in, of kind of a open-eyed coma, I would have gone there not expecting any form of conversation or anything from her side of things. But I definitely would have, I imagine, probably gone to the room and just looked through the window and probably saw her sitting on a chair staring out the window or something like she usually did, just so that I could know that she was, I don't know, in the same state that she was, I guess, before everything happened. So nothing's changed in regards to my desire of solving all of this to hopefully bring her back to the mother that I loved and grew up with. But so that's still kind of my goal.
Yeah. Cool. Anything from you, Wade?
Yeah, I think Wade would definitely just kind of talk with Travis for a little bit, catching up with him on some old things that they would have been able to relate with. I think the only thing that I would have done is I would have definitely checked on Thaddeus. Probably would have walked in with a bottle of, whatever, some sort of whiskey, whatever's popular within this time. And then of course I would walk in and look at him and be like, man, you look like crap. You look like crap.
Nice.
And I'd offer him a drink.
I must be healing.
Amazing. So, in their own special ways, the Circle of Five encourages Thaddeus in his recovery journey, and
garbage, verbal abuse.
Yeah. Get better now. But with time, Thaddeus heals, and there is some scarring that remains. Any particular way that you would describe how that scarring, once you kind of get to a place of healing?
And stats wise, we'll get into that, but it's pretty much like the top left quarter of his face is fine, but everything from the whole like bottom right side of his face is burned. Chest, entire right arm, and the top half of his right leg are all like permanently physically scarred. He's obviously then at that point missing like so much beard and has like this cuff that he has very adamantly kept on the left side. Is now at this point, about how long would you say this has been since?
We're only going to actually fast forward like a month. So
great. Well, I mean, a month of beard growth is, nothing like this, but he gets like a good bit of some recovery there. I think there's probably patches where it's not coming through, but it's getting to a point where it kind of covers some of that as well. As for taking a scar, Stephen and I chatted about this, and I wanted to lose more in nerve, but I have nothing in nerve to lose. And so to do that, I have a permanent mark on body, which means 3 body marks, and I am scarred instead of the normal 4. So instead of reducing a stat, I've taken that permanent mark. And I took a bump in sway because I tried to be super convincing in that moment. And so I think he's kind of boosting in that, commanding the room and sort of like giving a little performance to try to make people see what he wants them to see.
Love it.
Who has a body mark? Does anyone have a body mark besides you two?
When I saw the ghost on the beach.
It's a body mark?
That would be a brain.
Oh, I
That
have
would
2
be a
brains.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No one else has a body mark.
I have 3 body marks. So
Okay.
away.
I would like to take a minute to try and use my ability of patch up.
Okay.
It is when you have a few moments of calm, you can make a focus roll to heal 1 body mark on an ally. On a 4 to 5, spend 2 intuition to accomplish this. On a 6, spend 1 intuition. On a 3 or less, you may take a brain mark to take the 4 or 5 result instead.
Oh gosh.
Cool.
Okay.
So, what do you have in? Which roll are you making?
Focus.
Focus.
I have 2 and it's gilded.
Okay. Wow.
So, I'm gonna roll 2 and a gilded, right?
And at this situation, I know we're fine, like risk wise for this, except for you getting a brain mark. I could burn a drive to help with this. Is that right?
If it's in your intuition section, yes, you could.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think I would do that.
Okay.
And so in just kind of conversation over this too, I just kind of assistant, grabbing you things as you need, bandages and whatnot, and learn some things as you were healing me. But then I'm also like just kind of watching you and trying to be helpful in this moment as well.
I let you stay, which says volumes.
I warn you that I'm a really bad patient, and I will flail.
I say, Wayne, I was with you in the trenches, I know. Okay.
This is gross.
You're gross.
I'm garbage. Help me.
So I roll 3 because I have 2 and didn't give me 1 and 1 is gilded. Okay.
5.
Nice.
Great.
Not a gilded 5. but
Okay,
a 5.
so on the 5, I'm gonna take the 5 for sure.
Good call.
Yeah, good call, good call, good
Good
call.
call. Good call. Good call.
And I spend 2 intuition, and I heal 1 body mark.
Woo!
Cool.
Nice.
Bada bing, bada boom.
That's fine.
I
Bada bing,
healed.
bada boom.
And I go,
But harder than that, obviously. Like,
Better.
you're all healed up.
All right. Well, as we fade away from that scene and the bonding and the unity of a circle that has been forged through literal
I
fire.
read this too.
Yes, and the journal. She's had some light reading as her friends recover.
Yeah.
Now we're going to hard shift into soundtrack man. If you can give me some ominous music.
Whoa.
What's happening?
We slowly fade out into happy, blissful white, and then that white suddenly becomes very, very red.
I knew it.
We see lots of red. Too much red. An overwhelming amount of red. More red than anyone's probably ever seen. No one's had more red than what we see right now.
and this is
Yeah, so red. And Dr. Kane is in a bit of a panic.
Oh, whoa.
We see Dr. Kane running and running and breathing and breathing and freaking out as she runs through what is almost eerily new fair, but also isn't. There's just something not quite right about it. There's just something not quite normal about the way that this city looks. Like, she looks one way, and it's almost something that she's familiar with, but again, there's just something not quite right about it. There's something not quite normal about it, as the red is almost just an oppressive amount of heat and just like intense color that is overwhelming. It's sensory overload, and she's running down empty street corners, just eerie silence, some crackling of as little bits of these strange buildings kind of fall and tatter along. Just an alternate world almost in decay that she finds herself in as she rounds corner after corner trying to find anyone who can help her, anyone that can help her out of whatever this place is, until finally she turns a corner and there is a man standing in the middle of this street. He doesn't look great. He's pretty disheveled hair. He's got long matted hair, long matted beard. Seems like he has not done anything about his hair in an extraordinary amount of time. And his just not in good condition clothing. Again, like rags that are matted. That looks like he hasn't bathed in a long time, and he's just standing in the middle of the street corner. And she rounds this corner, and she starts, and he kind of starts too. Like, oh, there's another person in here, and she says, "Please, do you know where I am? Can you help me?" And he sort of sadly kind of cocks his head and gives almost a helpless, like, smile at her, and he just says, I'm so sorry. And then from behind her, she hears, "Oh, you've met my friend." Dr. Kane turns around, and she is facing the one and only Father Elias Smoke. He is standing in the street with her. "Who? You said you're a friend?"
"Yes, a friend who did me wrong long ago, and now I keep him here. I'm sorry that I can't stay to see this wonderful introduction, but I do have a prior commitment, so if you will excuse me."
And before she has time to process what he's just said, Elias kind of spreads one arm out, a golden blade extends, he slashes behind him, and she sees a portal open up like what had opened up in her office not that long ago, and she's looking into a different office. This looks like a much more ornate, opulent office. She thinks that she might perhaps recognize something from when she paid a visit to the Shrive line where the Ascendancy is headquartered. She starts to, "Is that your And before she gets to finish her sentence, Elias has nodded to her, stepped through the portal, and it is closed up behind her. So she finds herself back with this stranger. As she looks back to him, she realizes that he is crying. There are silent tears running down his face, and he lightly shakes his head back and forth. And again, he says, "I'm so sorry." And then he sort of gags a little bit. And then he kind of gags again. And he coughs into his hand. And there's just a big mat of hair.
It's like a cat.
And then he drops the hair on the ground. And then he takes a deep breath. And before he finishes to exhale, the man explodes. His body is completely burst apart, as not just from force, but because something larger was inside him. Something far larger.
How to get in there?
Something massive and hairy and with these goat-like horns, this goat-like head, this massive hulking force with this massive hairy hand, and this creature, this hulking thing gets bigger and it gets bigger, and Dr. King sees this bigger and bigger until it's almost trapped just by the street alone. The buildings are brushing up against its sides on either side of this body, and this creature is no longer crying, for it is now seeing its next meal. And Dr. Kane lets out a scream as she begins to back away, as this creature begins to move towards her. And we don't hear what happens next, Dr. Kane, because we leave this place. And we instead move to the region of Silverslip, the district of Silverslip in New Fair. Specifically, City Hall, where the Circle of Five is sitting amongst a wide range of representatives from the Triumvirate, which are the leading classes of New Fair. We have representatives from the Ascendancy, we have representatives from the Primacy, we have representatives from the Periphery. This is the government, the police, and the religious structure, some various towns members, and sprinkled among those town members there are representatives from Candela Obscura. Now, to your average public, people would not necessarily know that these are Candela Obscura members. There may be a couple faces that y'all recognize around the room from other circles or from brief Candela missions, but The Circle of Five does sit together, but for all intents and purposes, you are townsfolk at this memorial service. In the middle of the room, the seats are kind of around this grand, brand new statue, a centerpiece in City Hall. It is a great black marble statue of the Shadow.
The Shadow!
With its razor-bladed arms raised in a very powerful stance. They got very excited with this statue. They went all out. These razor blades, they're not just normal razor blades. These are golden razor blades all the way down this statue's arm. This beautiful gilded statue of the Shadow. At the front of the room, on a podium, Mayor Gaffney is speaking to the gathered individuals. Mayor Gil Gaffney.
He wasn't the idiot we needed. He was the idiot we deserved.
In his iconic lavender suit, flanked on either side of Mayor Gil Gaffney is a chamberlain of the primacy. So the primacy has chamberlains, which are essentially senators, representatives. They kind of are over various districts of New Fair. Chamberlain Lenny Potter is the chamberlain of Silverslip and is here alongside the mayor. On the other side of the mayor is Commissioner Dorna. She is the head of the periphery. She is over OUP, she is over other periphery officers, and she is up here alongside Mayor Gaffney as he gives a speech in honor of the dearly departed Shadow.
Today is a day to reflect on the shadow of the Shadow. For several years, the Shadow was our faithless protector, our noble defender, a righteous enigma. Now, the Shadow is no more. While one of New Fair's greatest allies may be gone, he left us a parting gift, his identity. We now know that the Periphery's very own officer, Ronnie Ronson, was moonlighting as this daring vigilante. We will never fully appreciate the impact Ronson had both behind the badge of the officer and under the hood of the Shadow. But we can see the impact he had on those he worked with. His partner, Johnny Johnson,
and that's when Mayor Gaffney gestures to an officer on the end of one of the rows. Seems in a pretty bad way. He looks like he hasn't slept in weeks. His hair is not well taken care of, and he's fiddling with something in his hands as he just kind of sits, processing and listening silently to Gaffney. Gaffney says, "His mentor, Commissioner Dorna." Dorna gives a small nod beside him. "And his fellow officers and admirers here today. And Officer Ronson, we found a hero. We found a symbol." As Gaffney continues, the circle is sitting here after a small from your lightkeeper, Declan, and he kind of is a little embarrassed at his lack of decorum. He adjusts his top hat and just continues to listen and nod. How are y'all? What is your presence in this ceremony like? Are you dialed in? Are you scanning the room? What are y'all doing as you listen to strange and eclectic Mayor Gil Gaffney drone on?
I think I'm looking for members of the... Is it Pyre and Flint? Like, what is the overall institution for that? What's the
it would just be the Ascendancy.
The Ascendancy, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Pyre is a little more secretive, but you could be looking to see if...
No, specifically, like, just the Ascendancy in general. Is there anybody who all is of note from the Ascendancy here?
Mm-hmm. So, they're sort of at the very front. The Triumvirate got the best seats in the house. So you have a block of primacy of government workers. You have a block in the middle of Ascendancy, and they're all just in red robes, all looking very uniform. Some of them don't have hoods on. You see various priests, like this Elias that you've met before. From your position, you're further back in the room. It's hard to tell if any one of them is Elias. Some of them, there are a few people that are... Elias is notably bald. There are a couple other people who are also bald, but again, like, hard to know which Baldy is Elias. And then you have people who have their hoods up, but a little block of red. and then on the far side you have your periphery members, the officers, and then kind of closest to you on the end is where you see Officer Johnson head down, just kind of fiddling.
Okay. I think I'm just chilling. I'm not really saying much unless like other people engage or do anything with me or something I would respond to. But at some point, if I could, like once the whole ceremony and stuff is over, I would go over and talk to Johnny Johnson. So I'll wait that out.
Sure.
Did you say we're inside? Okay. I'm probably just fidgeting with a pocket watch, checking the time every 30 seconds to a minute, but while also like paying attention to doors and exits and still hearing the speech in my, like, I don't know, peripheral or whatever. I don't know if there's audible peripheral hearing, but that's not what I'm focused on. I'm more so just kind of fidgeting and looking around.
Sure.
I'm visibly just shaking my head. I'm going to tap McCoy on the shoulder and just be like, can't believe my tax dollars paid for the statue, alright? And I just kind of go on a rant from there.
At a funeral, nonetheless.
And we're like talking like fairly audibly.
Yes.
Like, I lean over and say, the only thing that man was a symbol of is idiocy.
And then,
am I right?
the right echoes a little bit. Mayor Gill pauses mid-sentence. Oh. Just kind of...
My bad.
We look around like, well, who said that?
Yeah.
When I noticed at that, in between him commenting and sighing loudly, when I noticed that Johnson is fiddling with something, I kind of make a little quizzical face, and then I kind of pull out the notebook that I had, and I flip to a certain page, and I and then I like look up at Johnson and I'm kind of like craning to see, can I see what he has at all, or?
It's not clear. Whatever he has, it just seems like it's just some sort of dark material something.
Okay, I
Rocky seems to think they were lovers. What do you think?
Every page he meets a new person. Lovers?
and then he goes, no, the stupid shadow. And then I kind of like look over at Thaddeus and I see that he's like eyeing Johnston, and I like make eye contact with Thaddeus, and then I look at Johnston, and then I look back at him as if to say,
I'll follow along with you.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So, as y'all have been doing this, briefly interrupted Mayor Gaffney during his. Am I right? Right. In memory of Arthur Ronthan, the shadow of memory, Father Smoke will offer a short prayer. And then from the front, one of the priests gets up and
Florence kind of sits up,
walks,
and is like looking
walks
carefully.
up to the podium. And this is his demeanor is quite warm and friendly as he looks out over everyone.
Thanks. Must be a nice guy.
And then he raises his hands and then bows his head with his hands raised. He says, "May the Father help us remember to be strong. May the Mother help us remember to be grateful. May the child help us remember to be joyful." Puts his hands together.
I pull out a flask and I say, then let the whiskey be strong. I take a sip.
And you don't know if he heard you. He just pauses. And then he opens his eyes again. And as he opens his eyes, if you're looking at him, you might notice that his eyes open in your direction, and then he just kind of looks forward again, and then lowers his hands, and then walks back off the podium. Gaffney, standing at attention as Smoke was there, and then kind of walks away. Seems like he breathes for the first time since Smoke got on the stage. And then realizes that he did that into the microphone.
Why is there reverb on this?
Great acoustics in this room. And now, Chamberlain Potter will share with us how New Fair will seek to honor the Shadow's legacy. And then Chamberlain Potter, who is has a very nice, very sharp suit, clearly very crisply manicured hair, some wire rim glasses, very, very kind of orderly individual, walks up to the stand. And as Chamberlain walks up to the stand, Thaddeus and Florence, you notice that Officer Johnson, whatever it was that he was fiddling with, he pockets it, and he's got in his chest pocket of his uniform. He snugs it away, and then he stands up as everyone else is still seated, and the people kind of near him kind of like look up because he's not even not being very subtle about it. And he unholsters his weapon, and he starts to raise it towards
Potter.
Potter.
Who is Potter again?
Potter is the Chamberlain. He is like the senator representative for this district.
How far away is this guy?
He is probably like 3 rows in front of y'all off to the left.
Can you reach him in time to move quick enough to tackle him?
Well, what do you do? Which of y'all, I guess the 2 of y'all were trained on him, but like, what do y'all do as you see this person you were looking at stand up, go for their weapon? He's not moving quickly. He's not like, ha! It's sort of like a, almost just...
Like he's in a trance.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
It's slow movement, slow and steady.
Well, I know Wade is just, he's cracking jokes, but he's also like inspecting people as they're coming in, just sizing people up, trying to figure out, okay, is this guy a threat? Is there not? He's very aware of the situation unfolding, so I would say that he's going to be moving closer to him to potentially try to, resolve the situation in a manner that's not going to end in death.
Okay.
What's Potter's vibe? Like, have I interacted with them much, or do I have an opinion on who they are? Like,
would you say, like, in your role through, like, the college and stuff, that you might have rubbed shoulders with the political party? Yeah, I mean, he's just, like, picture a boilerplate politician. He just says a lot of words, doesn't seem like it means much, very good at in a party setting, but don't know a lot about him beyond what people would normally say about a politician.
Okay.
I think when he started to do that, because I was watching him with Thaddeus, I think I would like try to do the same thing, like jump and run towards him, and I think I would have like hit like with my hands in a reaction, like Ox and Wayne, just like tapped y'all like to get your attention, and then started running towards him.
Okay.
I imagine I'm not as fast as Wayne.
I would do one of the cool finger whistles,
Whoa!
because I can't do it in real life.
Well,
Just to either interrupt if it seems like he's in a trance. The first thing that I was thinking, this is probably just Michael, was that it wasn't something dangerous. Maybe it was like a salute or something like that, because he's a police officer, right? Johnson is.
Mm-hmm.
So my first feeling was that it wasn't something dangerous. But since he's moving so slow, instead of rushing over to try and do anything, I think I would whistle to maybe make people look around or pay attention if they're like talking or chatting or whatever.
Do we have visibility on it? Like, he has a gun in his hand, right?
Yeah, you could see it was very slow. His gun was closest to you, so we saw him draw it and start to bring it up as he was standing. Okay, so you're making a dash. Were you kind of like nice and easy, or were you like bolting? Because Florence is bolting, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think like right when she taps me, that's probably when I'll go. Because it's as like a backup type of thing.
soldier reflexes.
Yeah.
Cool. So Ox is whistling. What is Thaddeus doing?
Thaddeus is, he knows he's not main stage in a situation like this. So he's like, he will stick to McCoy, but he's like letting her lead and not really trying to initiate anything himself.
Sure. Could each of y'all make a move roll for me, please?
Sure.
Yes.
I will say that y'all can make separate move rolls, or if y'all are both kind of in this endeavor together. So if one of y'all wants to help the other, it could be a kind of combined effort.
I have like no move, so I would even say like my character would hit Wayne intentionally, knowing that he would get there faster. So I'm like trying to like move behind him.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I'm trying to beat him there, for what that's worth.
Okay.
But so whatever would be best, considering I don't have move.
Was there a response when I whistled or anything?
We'll do all of it at the same time. So
Because depending on what happens there, I might run as well.
Sure.
But that wasn't my first instinct.
So me helping would actually be hurting. Right?
Well, you could spend a drive in your nerve just to give him an extra die.
Unfortunately, I don't have any time.
Okay. So, well,
Do you want me to roll move as well, depending on how he responds?
well, I think you've chosen to stay and whistle there.
I did think of one thing Thaddeus might do.
Okay.
in this, which is instead of like initially trying to get involved with this situation, is keeping up with McCoy, but just getting a sense around if there's any signs of bleed or magical weirdness or funkiness going on in this particular moment.
Okay, cool. Do you have like a bleed detector?
I do have a bleed detector.
So great. What is your bleed detector like, and how does it detect bleed?
Yes. So my bleed detector is going to be. He pulls out a vial and he swirls it around, and he's got some type of concoction in it that if he's in close proximity to any type of magical activity, it starts to change colors and kind of glisten a bit. That there's some type of like residual materials and stuff in it that tends to overreact when there's stuff nearby.
Like pool chemicals.
Like pool chemicals.
Yeah, if you pee in it.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah. So he just starts swirling this vial and looking around with it.
Okay. Does it show direction, or it would just react if there was bleeding in the room, kind of thing?
I know which one would be more helpful, but let's just go with it would start to react.
It's like a lava lamp.
Yeah.
Cool. So, yes, as you swirl it, like it is reacting very aggressively. Basically, like something is flaring up. I'll have you do the move roll.
Okay.
She helped you by smacking you.
I'll say this too for context. My thought process on running over is that I think that this is a murder suicide, and there's something like an intervention is needed from like a psychiatrist's perspective.
Okay.
So, for what that's worth.
Okay.
I just see gun. Gun.
Great.
All right. So I have two.
It's medium stakes. To
Good.
answer your question.
I have 2 move circles filled out, so that's 2.
You would roll 2 dice.
Got it. 4 and a 6.
Nice.
Okay.
We'll go with the 6.
That's a great idea. Is your 6 gilded, or is it a gilded action?
It is not a gilded action.
Just kidding. Don't roll the 6.
Nice.
Okay.
Gilded
Good
move.
Good deal. All right. So, Ox whistles. Everyone turns at the sharp sound except Johnson, who's still raising his gun. Everyone else turns. The Chamberlain looks up to see who whistled, and as he looks up to see who whistled, he sees the gun and his eyes widen. Florence and Wade are running over, and Wade, you manage to kind of run up, and how do you encounter him? Are you like grabbing his arm? Are you is it a bear hug? Are you ramming him?
Just because I have some military training, I'm going to go directly for his gun and turn his arm behind his back, trying to disarm him fully.
Okay, perfect.
I do have a strike with that, so I can. If that's necessary.
Okay.
Can we roll?
No, that's good. I mean, the move will count that. That's great. So you run up and you grapple him, and as you're pulling that down, he's gonna fire a shot, but because you were grabbing as you kind of grabbed his arm, it just you see a part of the bottom of the podium kind of like tuffed up, like a shot like hit the podium. There's suddenly just chaos as everyone is hopping up and looking around and seeing what's happening, and then now I need you to make let's make a control, because you are noticing as you put his arm behind that there's like an unusual amount of strength here, like more than seems normal, and he's actually going to be trying to kind of fight against you. So you're going to roll to see how you can kind of contest the strength of being up against him.
Do I notice this?
Yeah, you can see that he's like struggling to kind of hold his arm down.
How high stakes?
This is low stakes. He's just kind of trying to ungrapple from you.
Ungrapple.
Get him.
A 6.
Wow.
Wow.
Nice. You're so strong. You hold him. You pin him down right in place.
I'm a big boy.
He's a little boy.
That's right. And you were holding him, and now periphery officers are hopping up. They are also going to help restrain Johnson, and Chamberlain's kind of backing away from the mic, and the mayor is behind Chamberlain, kind of looking at the commotion that's going on, and
Can I, tell me if I had time to do this.
Mhm.
If I did not, that's fine. But if you're saying I noticed that he seemed uncommonly strong, in his, does he look like all there? Like his perception, do I have any sense that he's being controlled by something?
so what you see is just a complete blank face. Like he's looking up at the stage, but he has still not reacted to his arm being behind his back.
I think I would try and use my gloved hand to get the cube, or the thing that he was playing with,
Okay.
out of his pocket.
Okay.
My gloved hand, also.
Great. Go for it.
I do so. Do
I
I need to roll
succeeded.
something?
I told you, Steve.
So the moment that you grab the cube and pull it out, what does everyone see? Describe you tell me what you think you're grabbing. Sorry, if that makes any sense.
Well, that could be risky.
I'm rooting.
I'm grabbing the key to the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Candela Obscura.
Should we have a flashback to me reading this?
Flashback to reading.
Flashback.
Yeah.
You see Florence pouring through the Book of Shadow,
Uh-huh.
and I read the Shadow's journal entry on June 23rd, year 1. It's 5:03 p.m. Hung out with Johnson. Don't think I can fully trust him yet. The guy has a weird obsession with paperweights. He collects them. Weird guy. Is the Shadow the only normal guy around here? Florence kind of goes, ugh. And she keeps reading. Anyways, I gave him the weird cube I found in that old fair chamber. Told him it was a friendship paperweight. The guy cried. Weird fella. Florence goes, ugh, again, and then keeps reading. So Florence,
Nice.
cut forward to Florence. Florence thinks that this is the cube.
The friendship paperweight.
Yes.
And you're right. You pull out a black cube that has what looks like it's just been written in like silver ink. It says on one side it says Ronson and Johnson. And then on the other opposite side of the cube it just says partners till the end.
Well, yep.
No wonder he cried.
Wade, you are...
I quickly kind of like try and like not like get it not in visible view. Try to like secret it away into my pouch.
Okay. As you are doing that, your scar from the knife that when you were slashed back in the day, just you feel like a weird kind of tingling, burning sensation in that scar. It's kind of flaring up, Harry Potter style.
When I put it in the pouch, do I still feel it?
No, just like as long as your hand is on it, gloved or not, like you're just feeling like this feels weird.
And as
So-
soon as it's gone, it stopped, or it's in the pouch. It stops.
When you let go, it stops. Yes.
I go.
Yeah. Wade, as she was doing that, that cube minus the silver ink looked a lot like the cube that you pocketed in the first session with that drawer in the Old Fair Ruins when there was an empty vial, a black
That's right.
cube,
Okay.
and a gold hoard.
And we handed that over to who?
Or did we not take it or something?
Candela took it, so
Oh.
yeah, it was stored away in the fourth Pharos is where Candela keeps stuff like that.
So how did he get it?
No, it just looked like it.
Oh,
It did look like
it.
well, yeah. I guess at this point you don't know if it's the same one or a different
Oh,
one,
okay,
but
okay.
it does. It's like, hey, this is a cube like that other cube was.
As she's pointing out, do I see any like similar markings that were on the other cube or anything like that?
Johnson and Ronson instead of Ronson and Johnson.
Wait a second.
What does it mean?
No, it's just that
Okay.
just that writing that's on the cube. And then, good deal. So now, Thaddeus, Hawks, what are y'all doing during this commotion?
Probably once he made contact with him, probably started making my way over there.
Okay. Great. So, there's commotion, people kind of like holding Johnson down, and then one of the other periphery officers is like, hey, yo, Johnson, what gives, man? What's the deal? What are you doing? We see Elias Smoke has kind of turned and panned and is looking at this scene, and he begins to make his way over. And as he does that, he doesn't have to really say anything, doesn't have to do anything. The waves of people are just parting as he walks over towards this scene and up to the commotion that we see here. What is the meaning of this? And Johnson doesn't say anything.
I check his pulse while
Okay.
we're waiting.
His heart is beating very, 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 very fast. But he doesn't seem to be, if his pulse is going crazy, he doesn't seem to be...
He's cool, calm, and collected.
Cool, calm, and collected.
We need to check him out. I think that there's something weird going on here. I detected some bleed in the area. We should be on high alert.
Declan is kind of coming in from behind y'all, and he sort of adjusts his hat. I'm sorry if there's a lot of bleed in the area. It's just not smart that I stay here. I'm going to meet y'all back at the diner. But as soon as I will see you there. I'm sorry. Every second that I'm here is a risk for me, so I'll be with y'all shortly.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of like bows out and starts to you see him kind of like do like a hand motion, and two people kind of further back in the room, supposedly Candela agents, they kind of step up and start to move forward as he kind of pieces out. Florence, you smell burning. Yeah. Wow.
Anyway.
On with the story.
You smell burning leather, and the cube is going to. It has burned a hole through your pouch, and it hits the floor. It is no longer black; it is now glowing white. This cube is very, very bright, and it's kind of starting to tremble and rattle on the ground. What does everyone do?
Would I be able to recognize if there's something causing it to react in this moment?
I don't think at this point there would have been necessarily anything to cue you into that. Or what are you thinking? Like, do you have an artifact that might have signaled that to you, or what?
Because I know that there's some weird bleed stuff going on, and if Ronson, he's the living one, right?
Ronson was the shadow. Johnson's his partner.
Johnson.
Yeah.
If Johnson had it and it wasn't doing this, but now it is, like, I feel like something's different. So it's just intuition of like what factor has changed to make this thing start to overreact in this moment.
Elias got close to it.
That's kind of what I'm just thinking through.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that is a factor is that Elias has gotten closer to this cube.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, there's a lot of periphery officers that are around. He's getting jostled a lot. He's got handled by like there's a lot of factors, but also, if naturally, that's the thing you've noticed. There's a thing you've noticed. Like, Elias' approaching this cube has gotten white and it's glowing, but there's nothing that can definitively say like this is now white because of Elias.
Sure. I think then I would just maybe try to keep him distracted away from the fact that McCoy took the cube.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
Cool.
So is it like glowing white shaking in an increasing fashion, like a bomb?
It seems from your time in the military, like this seems volatile, like an explosion might be.
Okay, is there? I'm assuming most people have like gathered around in a crowd like.
Basically, everyone's on top of this glowing, shaking cube. Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, I'm gonna, and Wayne is like.
Wade has grappled John.
I keep calling you Wayne. I'm sorry, Wade.
I mean, we're basically in a Batman memorial.
Wade. And Ox, are you up with us?
Yeah, I think what I would do is take the gold dagger from the crypt that I have out of my pocket, try not to let Elias see it, and kind of just hold the cube still with the dagger.
Okay.
So I'm not like stabbing it, I'm trying to steady it without my hand to see if the gold has some sort of reaction, just like it did in the thing or whatever.
Okay.
Does it?
Yeah, so...
if
the moment that the tip touches, like you poked the cube, it eerily quickly, heat, like full like hot stove heat, kind of runs up from the cube into your hand. You're gonna take a body mark. You just burned yourself, spookily, instantaneously touching this cube.
Okay, I'm gonna try, when I see that, I'm gonna try and like knock Ox away from it. And I'm gonna try, is there like a space that I can kick it out of this little crowd? Because I'm thinking like bomb. Like something's gonna happen.
I mean, pretty much the only direction you could kick it is at Elias. Because everyone's crowded in, the waves have parted, and he's looking at all the cubes. What's the matter? And looking down, and there's this cube.
It seems like it's about to explode.
Yeah, it does.
I'm gonna jump on it.
Jump on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like not touch it, but try and like be around it.
I'm gonna drop something over here.
I'm gonna try to attune to this cube.
You're holding the guy.
Yeah, attune. I just.
What is attune? Tell me about that. Unpack that for us.
I'm gonna. So I have a little bit of a background with some cultist.
Yeah, you do.
People.
Ooh.
So I would love to see if maybe I can tune to this cube to try to calm it down, because it seems like there is negative energy that is stirring it up. So I'm gonna try to, calm it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe before I jump on it.
Yeah, before you jump on it. So hopefully.
I'm thinking like soldier instinct. Like what is the timing? Do we have time? To calm the cube, or is it like, I gotta.
I mean, this is all happening pretty quickly. We're talking it out a lot, but like this cube is getting real volatile real fast. I would say, I think what could be interesting, it's not necessarily how Candela normally works, but I think this could be cool, is if y'all actually contested and move against one another to see who got to it first. Because you're both kind of like split second reacting.
Fight.
Yeah, so,
you don't have any move.
No, I don't.
He's got 2 moves.
You have to like roll badly for me to
Yeah. So both of y'all, so you're going to roll 2 and take the lowest.
Yeah.
And then you're going to take 2 and take
Double sixes.
5.
You got
You can do it.
Yeah.
Sixes.
I believe in you.
I don't think
Double
y'all want me to
sixes.
jump on the grenade?
No,
I don't know.
Do it!
It's
What
happens?
You both
They get hands
or you little sweetie bird.
Knock each other out.
What I'm gonna say is that
so funny.
you're gonna land on top of it.
Okay.
Wade,
Dogpile.
Wade's basically dogpile this cube.
Maybe Wade slides under.
I got this.
So good, perfect.
Well.
Yeah. So you're gonna land on top of it. Wade lands on top of you. You were kind of like a little more like trying to not fully be on top of it, but now Wade is on top of you. So you are gonna make contact with it. But the way that it makes contact is like it was an awkward way of landing. Your scar arm is going to scar arm.
Because I'm trying to like crown
Your scarm.
around it, so
Yeah.
that would make sense.
Your scarm is going to make contact with the
My
cube.
scarm.
Your scarm. Your scarm is going to make contact with the cube. As you kind of hit the ground and your scarm makes contact with the cube, immediately visible right in front of your face, looking back at you, is the specter from Seasway, from the vault, from all of this. And he appears and he says, no. And
Nope, not now.
and the two of you are hurtled away from this cube, like as if something has like
a rooftop.
Yeah. The roof doesn't blast off this time. No, it is as if like the
You're
big
hit by
hand,
a giant in Skyrim.
big hand of protective parent like grabbed y'all both and just yanked you back. Not in a violent way, but just in like a hurried jerk you, kind of like almost.
My arms are flailing a little bit.
Yeah, up and away from this cube, and then it explodes. How far are y'all from the cube? And this is a split-second moment. Where are you?
You're pretty close.
I was where I was when I touched it, but I'm
But I knocked
bending
I knocked
over,
him away.
probably
too.
like wrapping my thing.
I mean,
Well, okay.
Wait a minute.
No.
Shut up, Scarface!
Okay, but no. But you went over to talk to Elias. You went to distract him.
yeah.
He's
And
literally.
you, I hit. Remember, because I
Yeah.
bumped into you to knock you away. So depending on how hard I hit you.
Probably 30 feet.
Give or take.
Far enough away 20
to
feet,
not get
50 feet.
130
You may have, I may have knocked you such that you're behind
Maybe 50.
another person, blocked by another person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then
I mean, so far our rolls have been successes, so I'm fine with the most generous reading of what's
Okay.
gone down so far.
That's what I
because
think.
we've
What
been
do y'all
rolling well.
think? I don't want to say for y'all. Where do y'all
I'm
think?
in the next room.
So perhaps
Behind
the
Mayor
scarred,
Gaffney.
bloody, broken man with the most body marks is the one currently
You went
closest
to
to the cube.
distract him. You're
Yes, I walk
dancing
up to
over.
Elias. Now, if I notice that things are about to go down behind me, I'm getting on the other side of Elias.
Oh, that is very Thaddeus.
You go,
Yeah.
what's that over there?
So as you had shifted,
Yeah.
Elias kind of looks back, and he looked down at the cube, and I'm gonna say, Ox, you've kind of been knocked away, but you're watching the scene unfold, and Elias, he sees the cube, and you see an expression of genuine terror on his his face. It's not just a what is this, but it's oh no, terror as this cube explodes, and there's now you have Johnson, and Johnson now kind of has a shell of periphery officers kind of who have been wrestling him away from this thing. So that human shell of his own comrades takes the blast of this cube as this cube explodes out.
Oh dear.
And the shockwave knocks everyone that's within a 20-foot range.
Oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm on Easy Street.
Yeah. But that does include Elias. So Elias goes flying back
No.
towards the
He
back.
hits me?
Yeah, into you. He hits you, and then y'all both kind of tumble backwards. Elias hits the stage hard, and the officers immediately around him. The first few, they are blown apart. The people closest to this cube are just blown apart. But as this cube kind of ricochets and blows out, and the two of y'all have been yanked back so that you're kind of holding back and looking straight at this. And what you see is that the cube has not blown apart in a shrapnel way. It's just blown apart so that all of the sides are no longer attached.
Huh.
So that it's blown open, not necessarily apart. And
It's unfolded.
it's as if it's take every side of a cube and just drag it away from itself, and that's kind of what's happened. Is this cube is fully opened up, but the force of that, it's where the sides of this cube have gone, and it's not a big cube. I mean, I'm thinking 3x3 kind of inches. Hey, buddy. But it's a dog. Just say that on my computer to be clear. Yeah, that's not the sound the cube made. No, to be clear.
Hello. Emerges a little man.
Yeah. Have y'all seen there were the Flash cartoons with the mine turtle who goes,
Yes.
blows everyone up?
Oh my ASDF.
Yeah, that's what this is, but a cube. No, so it opens up. Where the sides of this cube moved, it was heat of the sun bullet that just kind of goes through people and matter and everything. It kind of sears halfway through the waistline of the shadow statue, and then that kind of starts to bend forward as this kind of molten chunk was cut out of it. Body parts are flying as periphery officers, and Ascendancy, who are on the other side of this, kind of get sliced by this expanding cube. And now there is a figure in the middle of the room. This figure looks like it is the figure of a woman, and she just seems to be like a photo negative of reality. Like you can see through her, but what you see through is just the perfect inverted color of whatever you're looking at her through, basically. So this woman has appeared, and she's in the middle of this cube. Elias flies back. Y'all have been yanked back. This strange thing happens because from your perspective, the moment that Elias hits the stage, he hits hard, and the specter flashes before your eyes for just a minute, like timed with the impact of Elias hit stage, Ghost appears, and then he kind of like cushioned by Thaddeus, among other things. He's still like awake, but he's been rattled, and he's looking up at this person, like wide-eyed. And there, after the force of this explosion, this figure is just floating. And there is now the chaos of people have been blown to smithereens, and there's this now hovering, glowing cube. But beyond that, like, there's still, apart from just the chaos. What does everyone do?
The statue fell down?
The statue is like slowly bending. It's melted and it's kind of starting to warp.
I'm gonna kind of get up and just kind of brush myself off and look at the statue, look at everyone else, and go, well, there goes my tax dollars.
Just ignore the
What
stalker in the
matters
house.
most.
Look at the camera.
Yeah.
I do just brush myself off though. Just...
Yeah.
Are there people under the statue? Or they've all kind of like congregated over?
This figure's still there, right? The glowing thing?
Yes.
The woman?
This glowing figure, she's just, it's like there was this sudden force of movement, and now everything is just kind of frozen in time almost. Apart from the chaos of everyone's like getting up, reacting, and like people are seeing this statue's kind of moving, and they're kind of like getting out of its way. Like it's not, no one's in immediate danger there, but people are like looking at this creature, avoiding the floating bits of cube that are just kind of like stuck in place.
In the vision that I had in the house with Aldrich, when I was in, or somewhere, when I was in the body of maybe the ghost, the alchemist, and they were confronting Iamine, the queen.
Yes.
Does she look like the figure that we see now, in my memory?
I will say that there is the outline is a resemblance to the outline of Iamine.
Okay.
But you can't see any features.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kind of yell out, Iamine? Like that.
Nice.
Well, or do I? Or do I? Ooh, what do you think, Steven? Do I
Make
do that?
a do you roll. Okay. So
I'm really trying to die this episode.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah,
Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed.
Yeah.
It's my playstyle.
Cool. So when you say that, the figure at like the blink of an eye is like moves from where she is to where you are. She's like inches from your face, and it's a weird thing where like you don't see her face, you're just seeing a negative of the world. She kind of slowly it seems like is rotating, almost like you see the hands kind of move, and then the back of the outline is now to you. She's zoomed up to you, she's rotated away from you, and then at that same speed, she hurtles to the stage, she wraps her arms around Mayor Gil Gaffney, and then she makes an arc, and then with him like screaming, losing his mind.
Wait, I need to hear that again.
What was it again? It was she Wheel of Fortune Scooby-Doo. Look that one up.
That's good.
I couldn't see that.
And she hits the ground with her head and just like creates effectively a tunnel. Just like burrows into the ground with the mare.
You hear the
Yeah. And
Well, shoot.
she's gone. Now, the cube closes back up, chunk, and it closes up over where this hole's been made, and so then the cube just kind of falls down the hole. And then I'll pause. What do y'all do after that?
What did you make her do?
I go check out Thaddeus.
You see him, ask her.
I
What
look
did you
at
make her-
Thaddeus. I have no earthly idea, Thaddeus.
Yeah, from that force, you did take a body mark, but
Gosh!
yeah,
No! He's out here too.
Because Elias fell on me?
it wasn't as bad. Yeah.
While people are doing whatever they're gonna do, I'm at this point running over to try and like tourniquet limbs, like help anyone that's injured.
Okay.
How does Elias look?
Elias is backing away from the hole, and he, as he backs away, his ascendancy people are kind of like creating a human wall in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
And you can't see him now on the other side of this wall,
Okay.
but you almost feel like you see almost like a red glow emanate from this wall of people.
Yeah.
And then the red glow goes away.
Okay. I'm gonna walk up to the wall of people and just say like, what are you doing? This is the time to help. We need to help these people.
You are absolutely right, my child. We will do our best. And then they all kind of scatter amongst the wounded, and Elias is gone.
Okay.
Is the hole still open on the floor?
Yeah.
Tunnel thing?
It's like a 3x3 foot like perfect circle.
I crawl over to it. Because I don't want to fall in.
Yeah. Okay.
And just inspect it.
Yeah.
See if there's like burns or if there's
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it looks again like something, not even necessarily a drill, but just like if something hot enough to just laser through a material had just, not that you would even know what a laser is, I guess, but just like something crazy hot has just like seared a perfectly smooth hole down through. You know, maybe if you've ever explored a volcano before and seen just like
I have.
how, there you go.
Okay.
Just like burrowed down through.
Like the lava tubes underground?
Yeah. Just like it's a hole down into something.
Is there anything on fire in the room? From the, like when that expanded, did any chairs catch on fire or anything? I'm thinking if I can drop like a torch down there. Something that's on fire to see if it goes anywhere.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, the heat of like when the cube expanded, because it was like right hot and it burned through bodies, like it sliced people to smithereens. There was like cauterized wounds and stuff, but like if it cut through clothing, like there are some flaming corpses. Like there's
We just look over to see Ox like roll.
Careful. That's bad sweeping under the rug.
yeah.
I find some sort of debris or
it's
something
fine. I'm
and drop
testing.
it down. Cool.
After you do it, somebody goes, Rebecca!
So
The last
well,
of the
so
Glass Sisters.
the least macabre, but still macabre, is that there's a severed arm that still has the sleeve around it, and the arm is flaming. So you drop a flaming arm down.
Yeah, I did.
Buzz Lightyear's arm just...
Yeah.
It's a flarm.
It drops for a long time,
Okay.
but you can see it hit the bottom. Like it like not. It's not like it's gone forever.
Okay.
It looks like it probably fell like 200 or 300 feet down and then like hit solid ground.
Okay.
Old fair.
Now that I know where it went, then I get up and start helping people.
Okay. Great.
That was really gross, dude.
As that happens, you hear like a loud creaking noise, and there are like rickety, very thick metal gates that are now like descending from all of the like exits of City Hall coming down. And the Chamberlain,
What did I do that?
Chamberlain Potter
It's just what
comes up and he kind of like dunk 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 on the mic, and he says,
Can I get your attention, please? Can I get your attention, please? While we determine what has gone on, Unfortunately, no one may leave City Hall. I repeat, no one may leave City Hall. And then he kind of stands back and just smiles, a very, like, weird smile that doesn't meet his eyes, but it's just a big old politician smile. And he's just standing up, now alone on the stage, as there's utter chaos. And people are dealing with bodies and flames and things. Yes?
Got a thing I would like to do.
Okay.
I'm going to go over to my fellow Candelans,
Uh-huh.
and I'm going to say, it's time to do what Candela does. And then I'm going to pull out a vial of a sticky substance. And then what I would like to do,
Yes!
because I have my laboratory equipment to do that, is to pretty much make a safe, slow fall along the wall, like crack a sticky substance to kind of drip down the side, and we just kind of use it to zerp
Just
down
slide down the tunnel.
and just follow down.
Okay.
That's ridiculous.
Great.
We're going down to the fiery alarm.
Also, I have a super long rope.
Do like Luke.
I did a thing. I made a sticky
No,
wall.
I know.
It's exactly 200 feet.
As a backup with the sticky.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so one by one, the gloop has been made. It's been slooped against the wall, and y'all start to droop down the hole, one by one, circle of 5 on another thrilling adventure to Old Fair. What will they find? We'll discover that after the break.
Nice.